Alright, so I'm going to try to be brief because I know we're already running pretty late, but I'm Matt O'Brien. My project is the Internetwork Management Program. Basically what it is, it's a tabbed Telnet and SSH client for Linux and Unix environments. It contains specific features to aid in Internetwork management, particularly for working with Cisco routers and switches. It's written in Perl. Of course, I'm wearing a Perl t-shirt right now. That's kind of my thing. I do Perl code. So that's the overview of the project. This slide I include in a lot of my talks. Someone asked me once, well, like, kind of what's the point of this? Basically, you know, we're in the 21st century. End users don't like text-only programs. They like to have a GUI where they can click on things and little boxes pop up and everything's kind of intuitive. So that's why. The analogy I use is if this were a chess program, you wouldn't want to be entering in all your chess moves by hand to move your pieces wherever you want. Just click on them and move. So that's kind of the analogy behind this program. Maybe some OS X compatibility. I don't really have any experience with OS X, but in theory this should run on anything that has a Perl interpreter. Of course, for Windows, there's a whole bunch of solutions out there for this kind of thing, but slightly less so for Linux and Mac, and of course for fun. So progress status, we have a functional GUI client. It will connect to multiple Cisco devices at will. There's features in the client to save the configuration of each device that you're connected to, restore the configurations from a text file, and you know, you just click on File and you click on whatever. You'll see that a little later. I have some screenshots of the program. Couple bugs. The big bug is that the program doesn't always exit correctly when you hit the exit button. I was testing it and I clicked exit, and then I start doing some other work and I see all these messages popping up in my terminal window. And I do process status, and this thing had completely blocked my machine. So I'm working on that. I hope that's my task for Hackathon this Saturday, so maybe 12 hours of dedicated work to that, and hopefully I can fix it. So what's coming? So right now this program is great if you're a network engineering student in RPI's networking classes. It's kind of useless for the rest of the world right now. So what I'm going to add is functionality so that you can have a macro of the IP addresses of the devices that you commonly connect to, and then you can just hit the connect button and it will connect to all those devices. And also SSH functionality. We use Telnet here in RPI in our network engineering classes in the educational environment. Of course, in the real world, you never use Telnet. SSH for everything, please. Another thing I'm working on is logging of commands. So certain commands that you enter on a Cisco router or switch, such as a no-shut command to bring an interface online, that doesn't propagate into the running configuration of the device. So if I save the running configuration to a text file, and then the next time I go to my lab period to work on this, and I load the text file into the device, all those interfaces that I had configurations on are shut down. And then if I forget to turn them back on, suddenly I'm trying to ping across the network and stuff isn't working because these interfaces aren't on. So it will log these, it will watch for these certain commands that don't get propagated, and when the configuration is saved to a text file, it will automatically insert these commands. And also key bindings for menu options so that you don't have to use the mouse, like some keyboard shortcuts to connect to devices or save devices, things along that line. So this is my semi-live demo because it's screenshots. It's obviously not the actual software. Maybe people in the back won't be able to see, but I'll explain everything as it goes. So when you start it up, you know, you just get this kind of bare client window with a file menu at the top. So to connect to a device, you know, you click on File, you select the Connect option. It pops up with this little box. Of course, I'm testing this on the devices we have at RPI, which are organized into pods. So you enter in the pod number you want to connect to. In this case, it's pod 6. And it generates all these these tabs for all the devices. So in this case, you know, it connects to 6 routers, a frame relay switch, and 4 switches. So it connects to the device, telnets in, sends the password, and there's your prompt. In this case, router 1 is highlighted, the tab up top, and there's your router 1 prompt, and your router 2 prompt, and so on down the line for all these devices. Then, for example, to save the configuration to a text file, you know, file, save, enter the pod number, enter the file name to save to, which it takes relative and absolute paths. The path is relative to the directory the script is being run out of. And then it saves it, pops up with this little box, tells you it's done. And that's how it goes. Contact information is here. Thank you to Joe and Nate, wherever you are. The observatory does seem to be grabbing the updates from my project is SVN on Google Code. At 3 a.m. this morning, I was in the top 3 of the observatory. I don't know if I still am, but I'm sitting on some code I need to push, so maybe I will be again. Blog, email. Thanks to Dr. Morthy, Sean O'Sullivan, David, all the RCOS members, and also my advice to you guys, if there's some Google group or other chat room for whatever development environment you're using, you should join it, because people like that know a lot of stuff. So I know that was really fast. If anyone has any questions, please.
Did you figure out a solution for, like, when you dump the config from the device and halfway through it's like, it's printed out half of a config line and it's like, oh, fan error, I'm going to shut that, you know, it throws error messages in the middle of your config. Could you figure out a good way to detect that?
I haven't tested that yet, because I would need to find a device that has a fan error on it to test that.
If you have a fan error, please tell the TAs.
Right.
There is a command that you can enter to suppress the fan error message, so I might just create an macro for that.
We love when that happens.
So that when you see the fan error message come up, you can just hit the suppress fan error message button and suppress the error message, and you won't have to worry about it anymore.
Todd has a question. Todd and Peter.
You could always suppress all errors into the top of the save, and then put them redirect them somewhere else. Do the save. And then
That's a good point to do it. That's actually probably a better idea. To just before it grabs the configuration to save it, just suppress the error message so that they don't get in the way.
Are you using TK to do your window manager?
Yes.
And how is that working out? So just yesterday I was working with TK, and the reason why I ask is I resized the window and the whole thing, like, I'm dead serious. Like, I moved it down 20 pixels and it crashed. It was
Really?
the greatest thing in the world. So I don't know if that's like a core TK implementation, or how are you enjoying TK? Is that?
I'm enjoying it. TK was originally designed to work with the TCL programming language, and it's just kind of been ported over to Perl. And I mean, I've had no problems with it. Maybe Mac OS X doesn't like it.
I guess so.
I don't know. That would be bad if I'm trying to run this on OS X. But please.
So I saw you connecting to a pod. Is that something that's hard-coded in, or is there a Perl script that says which pod are you in and what's your password?
It's kind of hard-coded. All of our devices here at RPI are kind of on the same subnet, so it figures out the IP address based on what pod you enter in that you want to connect to. For the future, it's probably going to be something where, like, if you have a list of devices that you commonly connect to, you can enter in all their IP addresses once and, like, save that that grouping of devices, and then connect to that particular grouping based on their IP addresses.
Okay. So was the connect functionality, does it run a script that
Yes,
I can
yes.
modify, or is it compile it? Whatever.
Well, I mean, it's a function of the code that you know, it takes the IP, it connects to the IP addresses that it's given. In this case, it's a little bit of a shortcut, because for the pods, I know the IP addresses ahead of time, but it'd be pretty easy to modify.
Thank you very much. So next week we have